Yeah, so Brian had shared with me, I think it was last Wednesday, that he had only done a handful of CMAs. He did, I think, 5 that last week, and ended up securing a $225,000 listing from one of the CMAs that he did. And so he was all pumped up, and I talked to him at the end of last week, and he's like, now I've already done 9 more, because he actually
Wow.
saw the results of it, and it's actually coming in. So he was super pumped.
Great job, Brian.
That's one thing I'll say. One thing I might talk about today, and if I forget to talk about it, if somebody wants to put it in the chat box, I can bring it up. One of the most profitable strategies we use in our coaching program is direct outreach, and the hardest part is getting y'all to do it for 90 days consecutively, because everybody quits because it doesn't yield results, which is just so stupid. Because in this industry, we don't get paid on what we do. We get paid 90 to 100 days later, 120 days later, right? So you don't get the listing until 3-4 months have gone by, and everybody quits by that. So to his point, yeah, now I bet you, what's his name, Brian? I bet you he's doing 10 CMAs a day, of course, right? Because he gets getting paid, right? So a lot of the time, until we get paid, we won't do something. But it's really naive. It's just that's not a smart business strategy, because we get paid when we do stuff. We got to do stuff to get paid.
Let me kick us off here real quick. So I want to make sure that I recognize, last time I didn't recognize the loan officers on the call, so I apologize on that. So I've got a little thing written down this time. So I am Walt Schultz, and I'm here in Salem, Oregon. This is part of the CMA Day lecture series. We'll be taking questions at the end, unless Roland wants to take some during the middle of his presentation.
Wait to the end. Yeah, wait to the end.
So the session will be recorded today. It'll be on the CMA Day Facebook page later today. So look for it there if you weren't able to attend in person. And my little thing went away, sorry. So I want to recognize really the loan officers that have been adding value to the realtors here and that have brought you to the call. So we've got Anne Marie out of Massachusetts. Anne Marie Edwards. We've got Dixie Sanders out of Texas, Drew Ebner out of Ohio, Elizabeth Smith out of Florida, Heath Goodrich, South Carolina, Josh Blair out of New Jersey, Lou Graham out of Colorado, Scott Smith out of Utah, Sean Herrero out of California, Steve Calabrese out of Florida, and then on my team, we've got Susan Dunphy here that's on the call as well, out of Oregon, and I'm out of Oregon. So I'm honored to introduce today's guest, Roland Cochran. Roland helps sales professionals become significant in the marketplace. In a world where everyone is doing the same thing to get business, it has become increasingly more difficult to stand out. Becoming significant in your industry in 2023, will require a whole new skill. Luckily for you, Roland has cracked that theory. So Roland is a coach for the loan officers on the call, including myself. And I will tell you that he definitely has cracked that code on becoming significant in your marketplace. So I appreciate him. I appreciate, Roland, your time and coming. I appreciate the loan officers in adding value to the realtors' lives. So Roland, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So for those of you who can turn your cameras on, please do. I'm an energy individual, so I feed off. But the presentation will be better the more cameras are on, because I just I don't do this for no reason. I do this for people. So if I can see people and not names, it just brings out the best in me. So thank you for all for coming here. First thing I'll lead off by saying, and this isn't part of the presentation, but it's just something I feel very, very strongly. I hope every single one of you realizes how much you dictate the marketplace. The news, sure, they're going to pump out their nonsense about some sort of housing bubble and crashes and things. We all know that there's no statistics that they're basing any of that off of. They profit off of fear, propaganda, things like this. People trust the people they know. right? The trust for the news, everyone knows the news sells fear, right? So one thing I feel really, really passionate about is when we use data and we actually act like a professional, not a commission-based salesperson, but a professional, you can dictate your market. You can dictate your market. If every single one of you in your zip code, imagine this, if every single one of you in your zip code, right? How many of you are between lenders and realtors, title reps? Imagine how many people. Let's be conservative and say 500. 500 people educating the population right now about where we are. We absolutely would increase not just the buying side, we would increase the listing and selling side. People would be, I mean, I personally have got two mortgages this year, and I hope to collect as many as I can. I'm going to buy as many houses as I can. Why? Because I am heavily influenced by you guys. And what do you guys influence? You guys have convinced me, and I've never been a realtor or a lender, but y'all have convinced me that yes, inventory is low. That means, and it's only going to get, they're saying now the projection before it gets corrected could be as late as 2027, which means equity price is going up. Right? Hedge funds are moving their clients from stocks into real estate. Hedge funds are buying houses cash everywhere. I know lenders are really upset about that, but realtors aren't, because you guys get to sell them to the hedge fund owner, but they're buying real estate. You know what that says to me? That says smart people who know where the money can't be affected are moving their money. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We're heading into a recession. Recessions have, except for that one nasty one in 07, which was just kind of a fluke scenario. Home equity prices increased by at least 0.5%, sometimes as high as 4%. Anyways, the story goes on and on and on. If you guys want this information, ask your lender. On the mortgage side, we worship Barry Habib, and he has supplied us with all this information. You've probably heard it already from some of the lenders on this call. But my point of all this being, y'all can dictate the market. Imagine that 500, 600 people educating your peers who trust you far more than they trust CNN and CNBC and all the other. You can change the marketplace, but it only happens if you are doing it. It only happens if you're doing it. If all of you are waiting for the other lender to do it or the other realtor to do it, then that realtor is waiting for the other realtor, and they're waiting for the other realtor and the other realtor and the other realtor. Or if you're waiting for rates to go down, if you're waiting, then the market who you're waiting for are uninfluenced. Does everyone understand this? This is not my topic of discussion, but I just had to, I wrote it down today right here on my post-it note because I wanted to say it. It happens when people use their influence to educate others on how to build. That's the reason that this CMA, and the whole reason I'm saying this is the reason why the CMA works. It works because if you show them with data and love and compassion and professionalism, if you show them the upside here, people will list, people will buy. Anybody with money right now will move their money out of the stock market, put it into real estate. If you showed them what I know, that's what I'm doing. I cashed out 2 million, flipped it all into real estate, and I've already had upside on some of it. I could probably sell a few of them for profit already. Okay, so I'm not going to keep going on and on this, but I hope everyone understands. If you're waiting for someone else to do it, that's not how this works. All of you have a loyal group of individuals who listen to you, and all of you together, if you teamed up with financial planners, CPAs, lenders, title, lean on the industry. All of you are waiting to get paid. So just use each other. Shoot your competitors. I mean, how many of you have even enough business right now? Most of you are sitting around bored, not even making any money. Call your competitors up and do something together. My fear is that we are going to sit in this place for far longer than we need to, when the reality is not what everyone thinks. There's a tremendous amount of upside. Now, okay, I get it. Some people can't afford it, and then we don't, it doesn't apply to those individuals. But there's a lot of people who have a boatload of equity in their homes right now and would love to do something really neat like this if you showed them an opportunity to do so. Right? But they only get influenced by whoever they're influenced by. So if you imagine if they're influenced by a bunch of people who are saying, hey, we're in a bad market, there's a bubble, all this, then that's the vibe, that's the energy. And so they're not going to call you. So please take this. I'm serious. This is how legacy works. This is how messages works. This is how influence works. People come together, they change a marketplace. If you do nothing, the marketplace will not change, and we could sit here for who knows how long. Okay. anyways, that's not a topic of discussion, but I'm very passionate about that because I don't believe that enough people are teaming together to do this. So for those of you who don't know me, I've been doing this exact thing that I'm going to show all of you today. I've been doing this my whole life. This is how I've accumulated my net worth. I've made all my money doing what I'm going to share with you today. I did it back in 2018 was when I started it. I'm just really, really lucky that we're finding ourselves in a position where this is super. I wouldn't even say this is super profitable. Now, I would say if you're not doing what I'm about to say, you may never win again. The market has it's just shifted. So I'm really, really fortunate to be in this position because the world and economy just kind of morphed into what it was that I was already doing, what it was that I was already teaching. So I'm not going to say that I'm a genius. I've just been doing this for a long time. I got really, really lucky that this is now how people are shopping and how people are becoming successful. And so in a nutshell, the philosophy, how I got to this place was I was just tired. I was just burned out. I mean, Dana probably knows. She's gone to my business. I sold it to a Wall Street holding company. I was just tired. I was just tired of doing things I didn't want to do. I was trying to selling out. I was tired of meeting with people who don't even like me. I was just sick of it. I mean, it was just to a point where I was like, if this is what I have to do to make money, I don't want to do it anymore. And but before I quit, I was at a conference and I heard this coach on stage and he was talking about a better way. And I was like, okay, I'll go to this presentation. I'll hear him out. I'm about to quit anyways. So he's talking on stage about a way that he's getting all these referrals. He's talking about these groups of people who effortlessly make money. And I'm listening. I'm like, you know what? He's right. I know people like that. I know people in my community who it's like every day it's like homie's on the golf course. He doesn't even work, and he makes more money than anybody in the city. And not through scams and shortcuts. He's just effortlessly getting referrals. Right. Or I see this gal and all she does is pour into her nonprofit. She's never even doing anything. And she's just getting listing after listing after listing, and then she's got her team who does the listings and she's got her photographer who films it all. I mean, she doesn't even go to the dang house half the time. It's like, what's going on with this? And you all know who I'm talking about. There's these people who has found a way to succeed effortlessly. And, man, it just caught my attention. It was an interesting presentation when he did this. So I was young at the time. And so I figured, all right, well, before I throw in the towel here, I wonder if I could do this. I wonder if I could pull this off. Because in the end, if I'm going to quit anyways, I might as well give it a go. So it's funny. I feel like an idiot now. I walk up to him. I see him at this little table at the Starbucks at the conference center. And I said, hey, could I hire you to help me? And these two people who are coaches for him look at him and kind of chuckle. I've never hired a coach before. I didn't even know coaches were a thing. And he was like, yeah, I think we could work something out. And anyways, turns out he's a coach and he has this whole program. So I don't need to go on and on, but I give you that context to say, there is a better way. He taught me it. I figured it out. Here's the irony. That better way is the only way now. Is the only way. I genuinely believe that when rates come down, if they come down, because honestly, people are acting like they're high. They're maybe a scotch high, but they're really not that much higher from where they're going to sit. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they sit in the high fives, low sixes, I don't know, for the next decade. I mean, it's just, we shouldn't be preying on them coming down. And then in home equities, I really don't understand how they're going to come down when, so again, this is the market. This is where we are. So everyone's kind of like waiting for things to normalize. I'm not even sure that's going to happen. So rather than banking on something that may not happen, let's just accept this reality and do what it is that we need to do. So what is this new way? What is this new way? I'll explain it to you in a very short way so that you can understand why it works. And without this explanation, you wouldn't understand why it's so successful. But when you think about economies, so economies, the word economy comes from the Latin terms meaning scarcity. Okay, that's where the word economy comes from. So an economy is formed when the people feel a scarcity that they want to resolve. Okay, that's how economies are formed, right? So if we think back to our earliest economies, people didn't have food, people didn't have shelter, right? So the thing that people wanted most was goods, right? So people would trade chickens, they trade, right? That was how economies worked back then. Okay. And then they evolved, right? So then, okay, wow, we're good to go. Everything's great. World's in a good spot. Now we have too many goods. So we saw the connection economy form. TV advertising, radio advertising, internet. The connection was all about pairing a person with a problem to a business with a solution. And that went on for quite a long time, maybe 200 years. And the world got incredibly advanced. Most of you live in cities that were a tenth of the size that they are now. I mean, what happened in 60 years was incredible because people were solving problems at scale. So then what happens? We don't have any problems. Life gets really, really, really good. Costco's making hoodies for $2. I mean, we don't have a ton of problems. Life's getting really, 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 really good. So people evolve in a new scarcity, right? This is how economies work. A new scarcity is formed. People don't feel seen. They don't feel heard. They don't feel like anyone cares. They don't feel like anyone notices them. They feel like their life kind of has no meaning. So Mark Zuckerberg, this wacko, came up with this idea to give everybody a platform to express themselves. And people flock to it, right? We got Facebook, we got Instagram, we got YouTube. So people are flocking to these platforms. Everyone, like literally to this day, it's like 2/3 of the world has a Facebook account, okay? So everyone's trying to be seen, they're trying to be heard, right? And that was the esteem economy. So everyone was pouring into things. And again, there was a bunch of other weird stuff that happened. Status became really, really important. So people are buying shoes with red bottoms for ungodly amounts of money to just try to be important. They're buying wristwatches. Everyone's trying to look important. That's what the esteem economy is about. So why do I tell all you of this? Because we have evolved from that economy. People see through it. Back in the day, when you had a Ferrari, you earned it. You had enough passive income to buy it. Now, some idiot's buying it with all of his money and he lives in a studio, right? Things have lost their value now because people are spending frivolously. They're in debt up to their ears. People are taking fake pictures on jets that they don't even own, right? There's jets that you can rent to take pictures and pretend you have a jet. I mean, we live in this world now where it's lost all of its value, okay? The posturing is just getting exhausting. You no longer get credit for it. So, and everyone here knows this. They all agree. Everyone has this like absurd microphone sticking in their face with this neon light behind them and this podcast with 4 listeners, which are their mom and their 2 aunts. It's just, we've gotten to this place where there's gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs of platforms, tons of free value. Everyone's trying to shove education down my throat everywhere I turn, and I never ask them to educate me about any of it. Okay. We've exited this esteem economy. And we have now entered what I call the purpose economy. And I know it sounds a little fluffy, and I'm not a fluffy individual, but that's where we are. People are wondering one thing. What is my purpose? Where do I get energy from? What have I been designed to do? What kind of help do people want from me? What am I good at? Is there some place for me? And we made fun of millennials for thinking this about themselves. But now look, I got clients in their 70s calling me to be able to turn their purpose into their personal brand. Okay. We made fun of millennials. Now everyone wants this. And I think the pandemic accelerated it. But my point of all of this being, we are now in a new economy where the new remember economy, scarcity, the new scarcity is what lights me up? What do I care about? What am I good at? Is there some sort of value? What seat at the table can I get? What do I know something about where I can share my unique abilities in a way that makes me happy? I mean, it really is. That's where the spotlight is. And if you don't believe me, look around. Look at the most influential people in your industry. They have this strong sense of self. A strong sense of self has always been attractive, but now it will dictate who wins and who doesn't. You will watch and you will become frustrated in your areas. You will see lenders and realtors in your area who are not as good as you, doing more than you, because in this new economy, they do not care about your skill. They don't care about posturing. They don't care about the numbers. They don't care how nice your car is. They care, are you living an incredible life? Are you milking this life for all it's worth? Yes, a max existential crisis. Absolutely. I wouldn't even call it a crisis. I would just say this is how economies work. Everyone has said like, oh, the world's going to hell. No, it is not. We have been evolving just as Maslow said we would. We have been moving through our scarcities, and we are now at a position where we have no lack of resources, no lack of connection, no shortage of platforms to express ourselves. We are in the best time to be alive. There's just no problems anymore, except for one. No one knows who they are. Everyone thinks they have to do things they don't want to do. It's just a bizarre world where everyone's just tastefully pissed off and they have to write in their gratitude journals and pretend to be happy. Okay, so we find ourselves in this really interesting place. So why do I say this? Why is this a massive opportunity? because the people who win will be the ones who have found this. They're going to be the ones on a self-actualization journey. How many of you are just enamored by some of these people, right? I don't know why they're jumping into cold baths all the time, but they're doing it. And I'm just interested in watching this individual doing all these bizarre things to become better. Everyone's fascinated by people who are pursuing excellence at all costs, finding themselves, sharing their voice, speaking up, doing something interesting. This is how economies work. Everyone is so obsessed with talking about your product and your delivery. All of you, I see it all the time. Oh, I'm so good at this, and let me show you. Oh, and here's the product that I offer. And then here's my delivery. Look how fast I can do it. Look how good my this and this is. It's all about your product, your delivery, your product, your delivery. No one cares about that. That's a given. You should close on time. You should, like, all this stuff should be, you should sell their house quickly for the highest price. Like, that's your job. So why you think telling them that is positioning you in some strategic way? I don't know why all of you insist on talking about that. And your customers know. They know this. They're not stupid. They understand, because you know what that's code for? I want money. When I see someone posting about how good they are or whatever, it's I want more money. That's really what it boils down to. You want a lead, you want a referral. So we're entering this new place where you can't do that anymore. You need to be a person. I call it the person behind the personal brand. All of you are obsessed with marketing and creating all this content and branding yourself. You know what I see when I look at your brand? I don't see anything behind it that's of any interest to me. I see you forcing me to care about what you do for work. You understand? And so what we're doing is, and for those of you who are trying to like get in with like the elite inner circle, the top 5% of referral partners, the biggest influencers in your market, that's not how you do it. If I see you bragging about I'm an entrepreneur, I'm good at my job. You look desperate. So a lot of you are accidentally, you think you're looking helpful, you're accidentally looking really desperate with too much time on your hands. So when we're thinking about it, in the end, professional services, which is what you all of you are in professional services. That's what you are. You plug into wherever the platform is, you plug into it, and then you go and do a thing that kind of a lot of people do. Right? I mean, that's what's going on. Okay, let's not kid ourselves here. That's what's happening. You're plugging into this and you do a job that a lot of people do across the country. And the reason I say it that way is, how do they make their decision? If there's a bajillion of you everywhere, they need to pick one. How do you think they make their decision? And if you keep talking about the given that everyone's assuming about what you do, you keep talking about that doesn't land, that won't convert. You need to be the person that they pick. Can everyone agree here that when you choose somebody, you choose them because you like them? Dana and I couldn't be more different. I don't even know what I just like her. Came in I liked her, and then she showed me some properties. I don't know how else to explain it. But then you're not talking about the person. You're talking about all the stuff. And again, that might have worked in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. Maybe even it worked 3 years ago. But that's not going to be how you get chosen. They choose, in my opinion, you know how they base their decision? They choose the person that they're the most impressed by. I mean, that could be just me. Maybe that's how I shop. I think that's how everybody shops. Do I admire this individual? Do I want 1,000 more of them to exist? That's how I shop. That is how I shop. I pick the person who I find the most impressive individual. And that includes, yes, being good at your job, sure. But I mean, all of you are probably good at your job. So, to me, that's not really a massive differentiator. Technology companies and coaches have made it really, really easy for all of you to be good at what you do. So that's not really rare anymore. So why am I so fired up about this? Why is this a massive opportunity? Because for the first time ever, think about all those other economies. It was all about doing something for someone else, right? That was every other economy. Here's this, and I exchange this, very transactional, right? The connection economy. Hey, here comes this. The person gets paid a commission. You're connecting. This is the first economy ever where you want the same exact thing that your customer does. Same exact thing. First time ever. What does your customer want? They want to work with someone whose purpose it is to solve their problem. Right? If I'm going to pick, I want somebody who's like, I want to pick that dentist who's like obsessed with being the best dentist, and he's always making videos about all his new dental equipment. I want that guy who's obsessed with being a dentist, who speaks at conferences about how to fix your bite. Like, I'm going to that guy. He's weird and kind of goofy, and he's got a funny looking outfit, but I don't care. I'm not picking him because of his outfit. I'm picking him because he's obsessed with being good at his job. He's obsessed with it. Or maybe it's somebody who's an impeccable individual. They're always loving on their partner and their spouse. They're going to these cool little relationship retreats in Costa Rica and deepening their love for one another. They get off work every single day at 2:00 and pick their kid up, and they don't even answer the phone from the needy client, because family's more important. Those individuals get my referral, right? So to me, it's we're in a place now where we've seen it all, and you no longer get credit for it. I always tell everybody this: if you can swipe a credit card, you don't get credit for that, right? So if you can swipe a credit card and all of a sudden somebody's posting on social media on your behalf, or you're sending out all these spam emails, if all you have to do is swipe a credit card, you don't get credit for it. If you swipe a credit card and you have a fancy microphone and a fancy camera and a fancy light, they know you just went on Amazon and bought it. You're not a celebrity. You just paid $180 to buy it. People need to quit their obsession with shortcutting their way to success, because in the future, the only way to get extraordinary results will be being someone doing extraordinary things, because those are the things that are hard. It's hard to stop working at 3 p.m. and then be present with your children until 8:30. That is difficult to make $1 million a year and do what I just said. And that's why you will be admired for it, because it's hard. It is hard to build systems to set up with that. It's hard to build a compelling brand where your clients wait for you. They don't call someone else, they wait for you. That's hard to do. Do you understand? You will not get credit for doing easy things like implementing some sort of technology thing where it spams your clients about their home equity every 2 weeks. That's just not going to be valuable anymore. That was neat when it first was invented, and now no one cares about that. You need to become someone doing exceptional things. It's the way it works. It's the way it's always worked. It's the way it's going to work now going forward. When there is a surplus of options and people have seen it all, there's no way to impress them anymore. You can't send them some swag, a fancy flashlight with your brand on it. There's no way to impress them anymore. They've seen it all. They've seen it all. So I'm fired up about this economy because I believe that this is the way it's always should have been. You should have never been able to shortcut your way to being successful. You should have had to be the most impressive person all along. That should have been who won. This whole nice guys finish last bullshit, that's going away as it should have. It should have died a long time ago. I'm sad it took so long. Nice guys are going to finish first now. That's what's scarce. Real human beings who care about people, who care about themselves. And I know a ton of you are going to say, I already saw one post in there and there's going to be a ton more. Well, Roland, what do we do? What do we do? I don't know. Become impressive. Do some hard stuff. And then, yes, talk about it. Of course, you need to post about it. People need to see you doing this stuff. So I'm not saying don't post on social. I'm not saying don't brand yourself. Keep doing those. It's just my beef is all y'all are branding yourself and then there's no person behind the brand. There's nothing to see. You're just your job. You're a person who does a job, which is a lot of people who do their job. And then let's say you're really, really good at it and you have a lot of nice stuff. Well, now you're a person who wants money. Well, there's no shortage of people who want money. There's a ton of people who want a lot of money. Right? So if all behind your brand is a person who's good at your job and somebody who hustles and wants money and brags about how much they work, that's not rare. That is extremely common. It's everywhere. That's not who gets attention. That's not who wins. Do something hard and turn that into your brand. Do something difficult, do something meaningful, change someone's life. But if all you're doing is searching on the internet for the next thing to spam your clients with, is just, I worry if you will be successful going forward, because I don't think, yes, okay, we're in a challenging market. Sure, I'm not going to deny that. I just don't think you're going to succeed even when the market corrects. So the world has changed. It's shifted. Does everyone understand this? I hope this is like and I know everyone's gonna, all the messages, Roland, this is the worst presentation ever. You're so unhelpful. I hear it all the time. I'm not going to give you the roadmap because there isn't one. So stop asking me for it. Do hard stuff, become you. Journal in the morning for 3 hours a day. Find yourself, find something you're passionate about. Show up like a person, like a human with thoughts, like something you care about. Show up like that. Because if you're not that, there's nothing, there's no reason for me to care about you, because you know what you're doing? You're working so that you can stop working. That's 99% of people. They're working so they can stop working. Have you wondered why you're not getting enough referrals? Because all a referral means to you is that you're going to retire earlier. Why do I care about how nice your car is and when you retire? I don't care. I want to know that when I send you business, the world becomes a better place. You educate more people. You're changing other individuals. You have something you care about. Your kids are going to grow up to be productive citizens of society. That makes me excited. But if you're working so you can stop working, which is most people, that's not cool. I don't care about that. You care about that. I don't. And as you can tell, I'm fired up about this because people keep listening to me, and then you will close your damn computer and you'll go to your CRM and upgrade your CRM and do some stupid thing that doesn't matter. And then you'll still be poor. Like this, you have to become someone impressive. Those are always the people who have won. And now it's more important now than ever before. And it's easier to do because you know who wants to be impressive? You. That's the cool thing about the purpose economy. Your customer wants somebody who wakes up in the morning happy to be themselves, who has a killer routine, who loves their family and loves what they do all day long and takes care of their personal health and takes care of others. You know what you want to be? You want to be that person. You want to wake up happy. You want to love your routine. You want to love yourself. You want to take care. Like you want the same thing they want. That's why this is so pathetically easy. It's just we've gotten into a world where people insist on not doing that. And that's why when someone has the balls to do it, they become successful. All right, I'm done talking. I will answer questions, and I'll answer stupid ones like, what do I need to do? I'll even answer the ones I don't want you to ask, like, well, what do I want to do? I don't know, do something hard. But last thing I will say is you do need to show people. So like all the things that you've always learned about marketing and branding, I'm not saying that stuff's worthless at all. It's very effective. I participate in all of it. Every single thing that you've learned about marketing and branding, I do that too. It's just marketing is the act of gaining attention. And when I get someone's attention, I make sure that when I get their attention, they see somebody that I want them to see. Most of you, they see a loan officer or a realtor. That's what they see. All that marketing and all that attention, all that money that you spend, all the time, and then they see someone who has a job. That's all I'm meaning here. So I'm not asking you to stop doing anything. I'm asking you to keep doing all the stuff you've been doing. I'm just asking you to, when you finally get their attention, have something to look at, because most of you don't. You just look like someone who does their job, who wants more money. To just be completely straight up honest with you, that's what you look like. And as somebody who's not a realtor or a lender, as a neutral third party, when I look at you, that's what most of you look like. And I know you think you're being helpful, but may have been helpful at one point in time. It's not helpful anymore. But questions, strategies on this. I literally do this full time with a bunch of people. Like we just had an event yesterday. I just got back from my Denver event where we did this like full time. People are implementing this stuff into their business. So any kind of questions, throw them into the chat. Any people who I've met before who want to clarify any of this, you guys can speak up as well.
So Roland,
Yes. Well,
absolutely.
I saw Elizabeth's comment here. I was going to speak to it for a second. So,
Perfect. Go for it.
Impressive is personal. You're absolutely correct. That's what's impressive. The person, right? Not how many. I helped X number of families this month. That's always a hilarious post when I see that. It's code for I made a lot of money this month. It's just, again, people just see through that. So when you're doing this stuff, think about how it looks to somebody else. Well, what were you saying?
One thing that resonated with me when you said it, and I've never actually heard you say this before. So I'm glad that you were passionate. You're just kind of flowing at that point. I want to know when I send you business, the world will be a better place.
Mm-hmm. Or
So
here's the other way I say it, Walt, is I want my son to grow up to be like you. I want my daughter to grow up to be like her. I know that sounds bizarre. I know that sounds weird, but that is what people think when they send you a referral. I know it sounds like a stretch, but it's like, if I want my daughter to be more like you, I will use you to be a referral. Does everyone make sense with that? Like, if you're so impressive, I want my own kid to be you. You think I'm going to use you as my realtor? Absolutely.
I think, that doesn't resonate with me as much as that comment that you made. Because for myself, I can't put myself in, what does that look like? What does that look like? But I can put myself in the stance of, I want to know when I send you business, the world is a better place. And so I think, as I'm making postings on social media, as I'm talking to others, having that mindset, how can I get across to the client that the world will be a better place by doing business together? How can I get across to, whether it's a lender talking to a realtor talking to a lender, or a client, how to do that. So I think that's something very important to touch upon, or to ponder upon, more ponder upon in our day-to-day lives, especially as we're making those posts and that.
Isn't that what personal branding is? I know all y'all have made it into your business card and your flashlight with your brand on it and your little swag that you send out. But to me, I thought personal branding was telling somebody about who you are. Right. Think about, I call it like campaigning, right? So when a president or a political candidate is campaigning, the effort of the campaign is, what does a vote for me mean? So I ask all of you to do the same thing. Instead of a vote, it's a referral. What does a referral to me mean? I always say, what's a vote for Walt mean? What's a vote for Elizabeth mean? And if you don't tell them what a vote for you means, they won't vote for you. But a vote for me means that when I make money off of your transaction, here's what I'm going to do with it. And if you know what most of you a vote for is, I'm going to buy nicer shit. Seriously, that is what a vote for most people is. They're going to buy nicer stuff for them. That's what, like, seriously, that is what most people, a referral to you means you're going to buy nicer stuff. And so how do you change that? How do you say, hey, when you make me successful, this is what I'm going to do? And again, you don't even have to be that obnoxiously loud about it, but like, it's just your personal brand. As they're watching you, what do you choose to do with your time, your freedom, and your money? That tells them immediately what a referral means to sending it to you.
So Anne Marie went on to say,
yeah,
can we touch upon be, do, have?
Right.
How we can start being now.
Yeah, Anne Marie, it's a good point. Anne Marie knows me, so she knows this is something it's everyone's with the obsession, the philosophy is that, okay, once I have 50 million production, 100 million production, whatever your thing is, once I have that, and then I buy all of the stuff that a $50 million producer buys, then I'll start being able to do the things that individual gets to do, the fun, the really fun, awesome, really impactful things. And then finally, I'll be this successful, at peace, confident individual I've always wanted to be. And the irony is it's the opposite. You see, everybody looks at the people at the top of the industry and they say, oh, it's their wealth that made them that way. That's why they're so confident. That's why they're so happy. That's why they found themselves. That's why they found their purpose. So that's what everyone says. The irony is it's the opposite. It was being that impeccable individual that made them wealthy. It is being that person first, then you start acting like that individual, and then people start treating you like somebody awesome, which awesome people make a ton of money. It's the other way around. Everyone always tries to, I need to first be this, I need to first get the production, and then I'll be this individual I always wanted to be. And it's the opposite. You won't get the referral in the first place, or the client in the first place, until you are that person. That's what earns you. That's what earns you the referral. That's what earns you the business, is being that individual first. Then you become an impressive individual. You'll make impressive amounts of money. It's not the money that makes them impressive. Oh, somebody quoted Seth. Is this person somebody that stalks me or knows me? Because I love Seth. Like, if I could, I always ask, like, if you could meet somebody, before you died or blah, it would be Seth Godin. The guy's it changed my life. I've read all of his books at least 50 times. Seth talks about love. For example, he says the secret to a great presentation is love for the topic, but more importantly, love for the audience. Yes, absolutely. Seth's a big believer in, being obsessed with the work, turning it into art. Right. And, because to Seth, the difference with art is, hey, here, I made this. That's what artists do. Whereas everybody else who's not an artist, they're forcing things down people's throat. They're desperate. They show up to the networking group with one agenda only, which is, I need to get some leads from my time here. And if that's your intention for showing up to the group, it's very unattractive. Everyone always talks about the it factor. You've all heard about that, right? The it factor. People have always said, oh, that guy has the it factor. That woman has the it factor. They walk into a room, they light the room up. Everybody's looking at them. They're just different. You feel it. You can feel it from a crowd. You just look at them. They're different. Everyone always acts like that's something you're born with. You're not born with the it factor. You know why they have the it factor? They're not there to get leads. They're already awesome. They're an awesome individual. Therefore, I wonder if there's someone here who I could do some fun stuff with. My day could be better. Again, that's business, personal, who knows? I met a bunch of people back in the town where some of you live. I met them. I never got any referrals. We just golfed a bunch together, and they ended up referring me to somebody else who didn't end up sending me referrals. So, it's who knows, but your agenda, if you want the it factor, show up. But if you this constant expectation of this desperation, and this always in a hurry, and I'm desperate for money, it just reeks, and it pollutes everything that's great about a person, because it makes you not you. It makes you somebody who wants money, and it's a bad personal brand. And people think that people can't tell, but it's very, very, very obvious. Let's see, anything else? Tips on how you find who you are. Good. Great question, Pedro. This came up a ton this last weekend at my event. Yeah, here's the biggest problem, and Pedro nailed it. Everyone always loves what I'm saying, but it's like, man, I don't know who I am. For the past 2 decades, I've just listened to other people tell me what to do. I spent all my time making money. I dress, the clothes I wear because other people have influenced me to wear these clothes. I do these things with my hair because other people have influenced me to get, it's like, I've done so much to fit in for other people. I don't even know who I am. Love that, Pedro, because I remember that moment, because it's like, I didn't even know who I was. I actually had some of my mentors single me out, right? Like the peak of my career before I realized how depressed I was. I had people who loved me, who put me aside and said, man, Roland, you changed, you're different, man. When I met you, you were so full of light. You were inspirational. You were a go-getter. And now I don't even recognize you. And I just lost myself. They say a quote, they say, plant medicine. There's a quote, they say, success is intoxicating. You got to fight to stay sober. And I agree with that statement. And I thought I was better than that. And careful, if you think you're better than that, then those are the people who are it's gonna suck you in. I thought I was better than that. I thought I wasn't gonna get influenced by that, and I did. So, but anyways, tips on that. Here's my biggest one. I'll just give you one. I'll give you the biggest one that's changed my life and all my clients' lives. Wake your ass up at 2 hours earlier than you need to wake up and write. And everyone's like, well, what do you write? I don't know. Write whatever. I wrote this morning about just kind of my experience this weekend. Somebody said something interesting, and I wrote about my thoughts about it. But here's the interesting, here's why writing works. I know none of you are going to do it because you're like, oh, writing, I did that in 5th grade and it didn't make me smarter. Then don't write, whatever, don't take my advice. But writing, just for the sake of writing what you think. Imagine writing what you think every day. Let's pick 300 days. Do you understand how neat writing is? That didn't exist before. You thought about something and it exists. No one understands how neat writing is. You get to think about something that's never existed before. You thought about something based off of your past experiences and your feelings, and then you put it onto a piece of paper and now it exists. That's cool, right? Harry Potter series, it didn't exist. This chick thought about it. It exists now and people read it. That's neat. Why am I the only one that thinks that neat? That's cool. It never existed. It exists because you thought about it. Who knows what thoughts are? Who knows where they come from? I don't know. I have no idea where they come from, but I've written some smart shit before, really smart stuff. I thought I was an idiot. And then I wrote it and I shared it with other people and it changed their life. I wrote one of the best introductions on my day 2 of my event this last week. Best thing ever. An idiot like me wrote it because it's just like tumbling around somewhere and then it comes out on paper. So write about what you think, because a lot of you don't have a relationship with yourself. You don't even know who you are. You don't know what thoughts are yours or thoughts were implanted by other people. Most people don't even know what they care about. And how you figure that out, you write. You figure out, what do I think? I don't know. Write about that in the morning. Just write that on the top of paper. What do I think about? And then start writing and then wonder why you think about that. Why do I think about that? And then write about that. And then why do you think about thinking about that? And then write about that. But it's a really neat way to begin a relationship with yourself. Plant medicine, yes, I've tried plant medicine before. It can be a useful tool. In the end, you have to do the work. So I went down to Peru and did an ayahuasca ceremony or whatever and had some visions and stuff. But in the end, I mean, I've gotten more out of writing every single day for 300 days a year than I did from drinking some poison and having an acid trip with a shaman banging his drum around my head. So it was an interesting experience. I learned some stuff. It was fine. But in the end, I've learned, that vision can teach you. I've had days where I've written something way more impressive than any vision you can have on psychedelics. But they can, for people who have a difficult time going deep, it can be a profound experience. It's Anne-Marie wrote one of my favorite ones. What's the change I seek to make? I write about that all the time. What do I want to change? And your obsession with making it make money is going to pollute it. There's no promise that your purpose is going to be able to make you money. Thank God you have this industry to make you money. There's no promise that your purpose will make you money. But will people like you more and buy more houses from you and list more houses with you when you know your purpose? Yes. But yeah, sometimes it's paint. Sometimes people like a paint. And unfortunately, in 2023, no one cares about painting anymore. So no one's going to buy that. Maybe they will. I don't know. But it's just not a thing that is as commonly purchased as it was back in the 1800s, right? So you're going to have to paint for fun. So last thing I'll say is this is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. I just hope everyone knows that. This will be the hardest thing that you have ever done in your life. Self-actualizing is the hardest thing ever. It is so hard. And if you think you're going to be able to do it with your little coach twice a month or reading a book or something here and there, it's not going to happen. It is going to be the hardest thing you have ever done. Harder than making money, harder than parenting, discovering your unique abilities and what you were designed to share them with others is insane amounts of work. It's your life's work. But I'll tell you this, as somebody who's done it, there's nothing that's worth more of your time than this. Using your unique abilities to make an impact on another person, there's no better feeling. It's worth it. And it does. If you're doing it even 5 hours a week, that's not enough. Well, I can't do it on Saturday. Then yeah, you can. Well, I can't do it on Sunday. Yeah, you can. Well, I can't do it in the nights. Yes, you can do it at night. Every day that you choose to watch Netflix instead of doing what I'm saying is a choice to not self-actualize and watch Netflix. That's a decision that you have to make. And I'm not going to tell you which ones are right or wrong, but if you're expecting to self-actualize and do some awesome stuff and make money effortlessly in this world and be proud of yourself, that's not easy to do. It'll be the hardest thing you've ever done. So I'm a pretty accessible individual. My handle on Instagram is my name, Roland Cochran, all one word. If you want to, like, everyone's always asking me about like what to do. Best way to do it, just follow me on Instagram and just watch what I do. Even though the content's going to be not what going to be what you're posting, just watch the vibe of what I do, and then do that for you. Because I am very methodical in what my personal brand displays. It's my goal is every 6 posts, I want anybody, statistics show that when someone first lands on your profile, they consume on average of 5.8 pieces of content. So I want every 6 posts to give an accurate representation of who I am and what I know. Now, all y'all are posting like random nonsense. Stop all that. Think about a 6 post cycle that gives someone an accurate representation of who you are, what you know, what you do. And then repeat. What is my purpose in life? Thanks for asking, Pedro. My purpose, I believe, some of the most influential people in this country, most resourceful individuals who can make the most change, are obsessed with making money, and they spend all their time behind a desk. So my purpose is to change that, because the world has frozen in its progress because these individuals aren't changing the world and sharing their ideas and doing interesting things. They're making money and obsessing about it because they've convinced themselves that making money is hard to do. And making money is not hard. Making money is adding value to someone so that they want to give you their money. You want to make more of it? Add that value at scale. I have a business right now where a lot of you live that's running right now. What is today, Monday? Yeah, I've probably made $6,000 already today. You do not have to work to make money. There's other people there who are working for me. Okay. Yes, there's phases of time where you're going to have to work to make money, but I mean, your obsession with making money is going to make it harder to make, and it's going to make you be obsessed with making it forever. And the next thing you know, you're going to be 88 years old and you're going to never have done any of the awesome stuff you wanted to do. So I'm accessible. You want to send me stuff, just send me messages on Instagram. I don't work that much. I only work like 10 hours a week or something. So I have plenty of time to get back to you guys. So communicate with me. This is my passion. I love this. So don't think you're burdening me by asking me something. It is not a burden. I would be more offended if you didn't send me a message. Right. So just send it to me. It's not an inconvenience to me. I love this stuff. All right. Walt, thanks for having me, my man. This is, you know how much I love doing this stuff.
Hey, thanks, Roland. So, we created this challenge as loan officers and created a national challenge to do exactly what Roland had just talked about, which is using your unique abilities to make an impact upon others. And that's really our goal, is for everybody that's on this challenge, everybody that's in this lecture series, to be able to make a difference in your lives, be able to make a lasting difference in your lives. And that's really our legacy, is to make the most impact in your life. And please tell us, how we're doing. Let the loan officers know that have invited you here, that I talked about at the very beginning. Let them know how the challenge is going. I mean, I just got an awesome text during this call, and I still see that she's on this call. But she said, I've got 2 listings. One I am taking next week, and the other one I'm meeting with this week to tell them what to do to get ready. So both past clients, and that's been part of the challenge. So the challenge is working, that side of it. And if you're not doing CMAs on a daily basis, it's okay. Don't add more stress upon yourself, because I know that can be very, very stressful. And so, just work with your loan officer. And if there's some challenges on, you're not sure how to do the video or how to use Vidyard or how to use BombBomb, reach out to your loan officer. We've also put helpful hints in the CMA Day Challenge Facebook page. So this session will be recorded. It will be in the CMA Day Facebook page. I'll also send it out to the loan officers that invited you to the call. So grateful that everybody's been here today. Roland, you knocked it out of the park, man. You do get passionate, and sometimes I get a little nervous about that, but but I do love it at the end of the day. So our next speaker on June 12th is going to be Spring Benson. And if you don't know Spring leads one of the largest teams in Utah. They closed over 600 transactions last year. She has an absolute incredible story that you're not going to want to miss. And when I say you're not going to want to miss, you are definitely not going to want to miss her discussion. So thanks again, everybody. If you have any questions, if you need in touch with Roland as well, reach out to your loan officers. They can get in touch with Roland if you can't get in touch with them through Instagram and other sources. So thanks, guys. Have an awesome day. See you soon.
Bye, everyone. And exactly what Walt said, this lineup, I hope everybody understands. I mean, some of these people are, $60,000 speakers. So, please show up. I've paid personally to spend a lot of time with some of the people that he's speaking, like a lot of money. So why you wouldn't show up to some of these people? I'm spending time with Renee next week. My wife and I are going to Amplify. It's a $7,000 program for those of you who haven't done it yet. So anyways, show up for these speakers that are coming up. I mean, this is a kick-ass lineup. And now is the time to be downloading this information. You never know who's going to turn that light bulb on for you.
Thanks, guys. Have an awesome day.